This part begins. And we see D. Roth Taylor, who is drenched, and he is saying, I became the middle boss of Act 2. To explain why this happened, I must rewind the events from ago. Outbreak of the Ophilus Hall incident. And the system tells E.D. Roth Taylor, combat abilities details. Rank Novice Fighter, Specialty Bow, Proficiency Level 6, Vital Point Fire Level 3, Speedy Fire Level 2, Retreat Sire Level 1, Sense of Rim Level 2, Expanded Field of VRS 10 and Level 1. And E.D. Roth Taylor further says, I'm feeling it afresh once again. Ed Roth Taylor really has zero talent when it comes to combat skills. I'm forcing myself to use the bow every time I hunt. The whole semester and the vacation is over, yet still, my bow proficiency is totally pathetic. More importantly, recently in the camp, more and more frequently, I keep getting visitors. How do I put this into words? I feel like the fact that I'm living in the woods to the north is something a lot of people are becoming aware of. Anyhow, among the frequent visitors, 3 of them are worth mentioning. Visitor is an extraordinary genius, and she usually visits me at random times. And Lucy is saying to E.D. Roth Taylor, Uvu, purr now. Let's make the back purr as well. Are you going to make a chimney too? But E.D. Roth Taylor throws Lucy out of his house. But Lucy again says to E.D. Roth Taylor, why don't you have a class window? It won't break down, will it? We can't be using magic nearby. How about making a window through the roof too? And E.D. Roth Taylor is saying, Visitor A, geez. Things just don't go your way when it comes to her. For Visitor B, I was actually happy to hear her over. Then Janica comes to E.D. Roth Taylor, with an egg for him. And she says to E.D. Roth Taylor, I brought eggs. Belle said you'd like it if I gave you these. And E.D. Roth Taylor tells she's the second year's top student and quite the spirit sorcerer. Then Janica is washing E.D. Roth Taylor's clothes, and she is telling E.D. Roth Taylor, if you add boiled salted water and step on it like this, they'll whiten up. Fascinating, right? This is what my parents did whenever clothes got too dirty at our farm. And E.D. Roth Taylor is telling, despite her frequent visits, I just welcomed her without any discomfort. She would come almost daily, babbling with spirits, helping me with tasks. My gratitude towards her knew no end. Then E.D. Roth Taylor says to Janica, Janica, you're best. How do you know all that? But Janica turns her face away from E.D. Roth Taylor, and seeing this E.D. Roth Taylor gets surprised and is thinking, what's wrong with her? I just complimented her. And E.D. Roth Taylor is telling, she seemed really easy to read, though sometimes something seems off about her. Anyhow, she's my Visitor B. The reason I decided to explain this, Visitor C, the one that the world calls the Golden Daughter. And we see Lortel, who is saying to E.D. Roth Taylor, oh my, edition looks like you're busy. I was waiting for you. Needed your help, you see. And E.D. Roth Taylor is telling, Lortel is the Black of Act 2, she's probably trying to gather people who'll be of use to her in occupying the Ophilus Hall, but this time, I don't want to get entangled in this. I'm just going to reject offers. Long I don't butt in, everything will go according to the scenario. And when E.D. Roth Taylor is passing by Lortel, Lortel says to E.D. Roth Taylor, ha! I wasn't going to ask you this favor at first either, you see. If only Toad hadn't passed out. And as soon as E.D. Roth Taylor hears this, he starts saying to Lortel, what? Why did he faint? Tell me what happened. And E.D. Roth Taylor is telling, why isn't going per the scenario? Right. Originally Toad picked a fight with Taylor and the Toad is saying, ha, what a joke. This flunker took down Glass Jug? The whole student body saw you getting knocked out by Lucy in one blow. And E.D. Roth Taylor is telling, he's supposed to get beaten just enough by Taylor. But what he said next, and Toad says, you're worse than that insect, Ed Roth Taylor. And as soon as Toad says this, Jix hits him with a strong punch, due to which he falls away. And Jix is very angry over the Toad, and Lortel is saying, I don't know if it was because of Taylor or you. Alvi said it was her first time Jix so angry. I just can't trust emotional people. I don't have anything too hard for you to do. Take key from Alice, enter the Ophilus Hall, and when the inferior students flock there, you just need to open the door. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people, Besides me, who can do that? Well, regardless of how much money they get, there's no guarantee they won't rat me out to the Academy's inner investigators. If they say, Lortel is the one behind all this, what will become of me? I can't trust just anyone. And Edie Rothtaylor is thinking, so she came to me because of my shitty reputation? And Lortel says to Edie Rothtaylor, you were kicked out of the Office Hall, weren't you? Don't you want to screw the Academy over in return? And Edie Rothtaylor says to Lortel, I don't really want to do that. Still, how about you listen to my conditions? And Edie Rothtaylor is thinking, I just need to my part, in moderation. Before this story gets any more distorted, I'm just going to set everything back where it belongs. Outbreak of the Office Hall Incident Day 1. Office Hall's occupation started before the fight over Sage's sealed grimoire started. Lortel's ploy to drive the Academy's finances into complete madness. So it's like liking episode. Per the storyline, Lortel succeeds with this conspiracy, and forms, merchantry, profitable group in the Academy. Thus creating structure that rivals Princess Phineas, Student Association. The idealist Student Association, the realistic merchantry. What matters is who Taylor will choose, since that side will become the winner. I just need to remain a spectator, and then join the group that seems like they'll win. I mean, I gotta survive too. Then Janica comes to Edie Rothtaylor drenched in water and says to Edie Rothtaylor, WHO. I gotta get back to the dorms. I thought the rain would stop today. Then both of them light a fire and sit. And Janica is saying, Ed, you're really amazing. I can come and go as I please as if on a camping trip. But you need to stay here even on rainy days like today. And Edie Rothtaylor says it gets better with time. Come to think of it, it's about time I move out from the Office Hall now. And Janica says, yeah, I guess since the vacation is almost over, I need to throw out a lot of the little stuff. Dex Hall was way smaller than I imagined. Of which, if you need anything, tell me, edition. I mean, a lot you need here, right? I have extra pillows, cushions, clocks, and lanterns too. Apart from that, I have plenty of daily necessities and supplies too. I feel like it's a waste to throw it all away, and it's a lot of work too, you know? Though I can't really bring furniture with me because all of those belong to the Office Hall. Great. I'll leave when the semester starts, so I'll bring that stuff then. About Lucy, does she do that often? And Edie Rothtaylor is saying, Lucy's extraordinary strong powers didn't come free of cost for her. She lived her life running away using her laziness as an excuse. She has been turning her eyes away from her promised fate for so many years already. No matter how many screws she had loose, she couldn't help but reflect on her life on rainy days like this one. That's how she is when it rains. Don't mind her too much. I tend to just not pay any attention to her. And Janica says, I see. So you're indifferent towards Lucy, huh? And Edie Rothtaylor says to Janica, by the way, Janica. And Edie Rothtaylor is thinking, come to think of it, she's still inside Office Hall. When the Office Hall gets occupied, protection runes will activate on a large scale, and lock all students inside their rooms. Janica would not have trouble escaping from there on her own, but... And Edie Rothtaylor says to Janica, I have a favor to ask of you. Tomorrow, around 9 p.m., could you come out to the rose garden in front of the Office Hall? I'll tell you the reason. Tomorrow. And as soon as Janica hears this, she gets extremely shocked and starts blushing. And Edie Rothtaylor is thinking, I can't really come up with the words to explain it to her right now. I should just get her out of there in case something unexpected happens. Someplace not too far away, where she can avoid the rain, and Janica agrees to it. But she starts leaving this place feeling shy. And Edie Rothtaylor is surprised to see this, and he is not able to understand anything. Then Edie Rothtaylor takes a sigh of relief and says, around the start of the semester, the UN will stop too. I can finally enjoy the bright, sunny sky that day after a long time. After that, even these woods will give off the typical fall scent. The long vacation is also ending now. Outbreak of the Office Hall Incident Day 0. 9 p.m. And Jix is saying, phew, my execution is lacking. I should also avoid reacting emotionally as much as possible. I didn't expect Elka to get that angry. Then Jix stands straight and he starts looking through the window. Then he sees that someone is coming running, and when Jix looks carefully, it is E.D. Roth-Taylor. Then E.D. Roth-Taylor says to a maid, "What about the other maids?" So the maid says, "Other than the essential personnel, most of them are in the meeting room." The chief map asks them to assemble to discuss an important agenda. And E.D. Roth-Taylor is thinking, so they're planning to block the entrance after gathering them there. The person command has been bought off, so things are working out quickly. And the maid adds, "I've also prepared the goops that were asked for in advance." And E.D. Roth-Taylor thanks the maid, then he says, "I'll just keep it in a corner." And E.D. Roth-Taylor is thinking, the preparation's all done. Othilus Hall's occupation. Here it goes. And we see that many students gather at this place, and they are saying, "We can't take this treatment, Anwar. This is the land of learning. At least guarantee us equality in grapes. Answer to our pleas." Then all the students start moving towards the door, and as soon as the door opens, all the students are surprised, because E.D. Roth-Taylor has opened the door. And he has lifted the maid on his shoulder. Also when Will Lane looks at E.D. Roth-Taylor, he says, "Thanks. So you're the one Lortel bought off, Ed Roth-Taylor?" Then E.D. Roth-Taylor starts coughing and says to Will Lane, "Have always agreed with all the thing you shout out. Of course, I lived well off in the Othilus Hall, but only when I was kicked out did I realize the special privileges enjoyed." And Will Lane says, "I am a fool. I judged you on those rumors. I didn't even know you're such a great person. You just did so much today." And E.D. Roth-Taylor says to Will Lane, "You're the one who pulled all this off. You're the one who created this mess. Quickly, to the upper floor. Stop your nonsense, and just go upstairs quickly." And Will Lane says, "Oh, okay. I'll leave this place to you. Will Lane is the one who'll take the blame for all this. I'm sorry." Toughen up, Will Lane. There's not really any need to stop the maid who's running away. After all, any superiors she has to report to are inside the meeting hall. The chief maid, Alice, who controls the protection runes, is in Lortel's hands, and the protection runes that are supposed to protect the students will end up detaining them. Everything's going as per the scenario, and Black Veil, who set this all up, then someone says to E.D. Roth-Taylor, "Oh my, your start is way flashier than I expected." As expected of you, Edition. It was a good idea to leave this to you. We'll come up to the stage. Weck, even my socks are soaking wet now. This is why I hate rainy days. And E.D. Roth-Taylor says, "So you were watching, huh?" And Lortel says, "The Academy employees will repress them in no time once they're here, so we need to finish things before then." And E.D. Roth-Taylor says, "Yeah? Do your best." Then Lortel says, "Edition? I know this is kinda out of the blue, but have you ever killed someone?" So E.D. Roth-Taylor remains silent for some time after hearing this, then he says to Lortel, "I haven't." And Lortel laughingly says, "Either do I. But you see, I have done similar things, because I needed to survive. To survive, I crushed other people's lives, and to avoid being betrayed, I stabbed others in the back first. I lived my life forgiving myself for my sins, believing I didn't have a choice, but in all honesty, I was just making excuses for myself. That is how Lortel got the name Golden Daughter. She knows it better than anyone, that she doesn't deserve any sympathy. So, she ends up looking for it from other people." And Lortel says, "Edition? Could you ever sympathize with a person like me?" And E.D. Roth-Taylor is thinking, almost as if she's possessed. Loneliness finds its way to people regardless of whether they're good or evil. And to escape it, people have no choice but to look for people similar to themselves, rolling around in dirt filth. Only after they find someone who'll sink to the bottom of the marsh with them do they find a sliver of redemption. And E.D. Roth-Taylor says to Lortel, "You gotta take responsibility for your decisions, Lortel. But of course, that person is not me." And Lortel calms down a bit, then she is smiling. And said to E.D. Roth-Taylor, "I said something useless that was quite unlike myself. I should go do what I'm for. After all, there isn't much time." Then Lortel leaves. And E.D. Roth-Taylor sits there, and takes a sigh of relief. And he's thinking, now, Lortel will talk to Alice about their plan going forward. Once they make the defense magic of Ophelis Hall go berserk, and hand over the command of the runes to Willain, the leader of the inferior students, the story will unfold with the current events intensifying. Then Willain, packed with the dense protection of Ophelis Hall's defense spells, will transform into the fourth stage boss. This scenario is about defeating Willain, who's going to lose his mind in the middle of defense runes endlessly going berserk. Now I just need to sit my ass down and wait for Taylor to storm in here. Just gotta do a job to dig some time, then lose. Taylor will then go up to the second floor and handle the rest. I might take a few hits in the process of fighting others, but it's a necessary sacrifice. After this the scene shifts, and we see Rose Garden. Then we see a horse-drawn carriage coming in heavy rain, and Janica, looking at it, says, "Why is there a horse carriage this late at night? Looks like it's someone important. Ed wouldn't know yet, right? I mean, he left after leaving me this note. Did he prepare something special?" The golden horse carriage wasn't of any importance to her. Whatever happened, she wasn't going to leave the Rose Gardens pavilion. That's because for the past 3 days she kept thinking deeply about what Ed wanted to talk to her about, and was unable to sleep at night. Because despite the guilt she felt, she kept tucks on what us up through Marilda. She learned that it wasn't just Lucy who visited Ed's camp. Even Princess Phenia, Belle Jims, and even Lortel were seen by Maya, coming out of there. The coincidence that most of them were fellow female students made it even more heartbreaking for her. That's why she was going to wait for him no matter how long. But was this permission flower hairpin a bad choice? Cosmos would have been prettier. If I managed to hurry my way back, it might be okay. She would still wait. After she returns with her new hairpin, that is. She headed for the Ophelis Hall. Then we see some people, and one of them is saying, "Are you sure going in there is the right decision?" And a girl says, "Do you know how much the herbs in my room are worth? But it might be better to wait for the academy workers to handle the situation. The herbs will lose their properties if I don't use preservation magic in time. Do you know how much that little detail affects the result? Do you even get how profound that is, Taylor?" "Huh." Then Taylor says to Isla, "Stop her. She's trying to barge in there all alone." And Isla laughs and says, "Can't you just turn a blind eye? Elvira's the top student in the alchemy faculty. I'm sure she can protect herself. She's not the one, I'm the king. Those poor spents are. If she loses her mind, she's just going to attack them with any chemical she gets her hands on." And when Elvira starts moving forward, Isla and Taylor start stopping her. But she is saying, "Enough chit-chat. I gotta get to the 4th floor where my room is." And Isla says then, "You just need to get to your room, right? If you get there, you won't be doing anything else, right?" And Elvira says, "Of course. I just need my herbs to be safe and sound. If anyone gets in my way, I'll force my way through. Got it?" And Elvira breaks the door, but when she looks in front, she is very surprised, because E.D. Roth Taylor is sitting in front of her. And all three are surprised to see E.D. Roth Taylor. And E.D. Roth Taylor is sitting very quietly. Then Taylor asks E.D. Roth Taylor, "What are you doing here?" And Elvira is thinking, "There's footsteps of students who've already swarmed in here. The display cabinet's a mad. A.N.P. Ed's planted here with his back to the stairs." And Elvira says, "This is interesting. I didn't expect this. You're going to stop us?" "I'm sorry, but you can't go in there." And as soon as Elvira hears this, she starts smiling, and she is saying, "This is fun. And what if I want to? Are you sure you can stop me? I heard from Jix your magic proficiency is pretty high, but what's the point? You're just a rook who can only use basic spells. A little second-year student. We've got a swordsman who can hold his own on my side, and a mage who's skilled with the average first-year level spells. And me, an alchemist with the best of abilities in my year. That's an overwhelming power differential." Then Taylor says, "Why are you doing this, Ed Roth Taylor? Tell me right now, what's happening up there?" But E.D. Roth Taylor is silent, and then Taylor moves forward to attack E.D. Roth Taylor, and he is saying, I guess I have no choice but to force you to speak up. And Taylor also attacks Taylor, which Taylor stops. And Elvira is surprised to see this, and she is thinking that magic. It looks like a basic spell. He's a mace. So he'll probably target Taylor since he's the best at close-range scuffle, right? And Taylor is preparing his spell, which is Wind Blade, and as soon as Taylor gets his Wind Blade ready, he attacks upwards and cuts the chandelier installed above, which is about to fall on the direct light. Taylor is shocked to see this, and he is able to escape from that chandelier with great difficulty. And then we see Clebius, who is very scared, and he is saying, "What kind of noise was that? After all, what is happening there?" Then Elvira is asking Taylor, "Is he okay?" So Taylor says, "Yes, I am fine." But then Taylor attacks Elvira with the Wind Blade, due to which Elvira's hair gets cut. And seeing this, she gets surprised. Also, her bag falls down, and there are lots of magic potions in her bag. And now Elvira has become very angry, and she is saying to Taylor, "So, you're serious about this? That means there's really something going on the floor above after all, huh?" And when Elvira looks ahead, all she sees is dust. She then looks at her potions, trying to pick one of them up. But then Taylor uses the ignition illusion, due to which fire spreads all around. And fire starts burning everywhere. And Taylor is saying, the battlefield was set up, so naturally almost like water flowing. Taylor's judgment was quick and precise. "Jix, you can't leave out information like that. This isn't just high magic proficiency." And Elvira is thinking, as the alchemy faculty's top student, I represent our side's main forces. The alchemy faculty's biggest flaw is that, without relying on magic tools, our raw combat power is close to zero. Most alchemy students carry a magic ring or necklace with them, but I always thought a genius like me wouldn't need that. I thought it was too much of a hassle. Didn't this guy think this out as well? He caused the chandelier to drop, used the opening he got to cast a firewall, also he could target my bag. No. If that were the case, he would have gone for the bag, not its strap. After all, this guy is just that merely, Rothalo. I'm not out of options yet. I'll apply a fire-resistant formula, make it go berserk, and amplify its strength. And Elvira is saving herself from the fire with great difficulty, then Isla is saying fire. A spell to put the fire out, And she is using her power, and there's an explosion at that place, seeing which Isla gets very scared, but then Taylor comes in front of Isla, and saves her. And tell him, "Get your act together, Isla." And Isla is thinking, Isla's confident in her magic theory, but her combat ability, even among first-year students learning basic space, is average at best. With now openly he keeps targeting her. I cannot even get close to him. Rather, Alia and I cannot even move. Then Elvira says, "Taylor, you think you can take him down if you get closer? Then go." And the rabbit starts moving forward, and the rabbit is about to attack Taylor, and Taylor is moving forward, and he is saying, "It doesn't matter if I think I can. I have to." Then Elvira covers herself with a cloth, and starts moving forward, and seeing her, Isla starts stopping her, but she moves ahead, and grabs her potion and is saying, "Oh my. Did you guys miss me? Our time apart was not long, but I missed you so much." And Taylor is about to attack Elvira, and Taylor attacks Elvira with the Wind Blade. But Elvira is thinking after reading the potion, he seems quite prepared but, apply release magic. And then Elvira throws the potion towards Taylor's attack, which goes directly and hits the Wind Blade, due to which the liquid kept in that glass starts coming out. And Elvira is thinking, a chemical reagent prepared by dicing up night butterfly flowers and gall mushrooms. When cast with release magic it becomes a special chemical reagent. It works by controlling the release of magic, and there is a huge explosion at that place, due to which we see, all of Isla's wounds are healed. And the fire slowly starts extinguishing and Elvira is thinking, and temporarily subdues the products that result from magic formulas. Do you know what that means? But Taylor has killed the rabbit monster, Mr. Mage who can't even use magic? And Elvira is very angry at Ed Roth Taylor, and she is saying, acting like you're fine? We've got a warrior on our side. Now's your chance, Taylor. Then Ed Roth Taylor starts running away from this place. And seeing her, Taylor also starts following her. But then Ed Roth Taylor drops a box down, but we see that the bucket is filled with oil, which falls down, and there is an explosion. And again the fire spreads at that place. And seeing it, Taylor says that it is the smell of oil. And Elvira is saying, are you crazy? We're in the Ophelis Hall. If a fire starts here, people will die. And Taylor is taking out his sword and saying, whether it's fire created by magic or oil, I can slash it all with my elemental slash. This chemical reagent doesn't last for more than a few minutes anyway. Before anyone gets hurt, I'm gonna put an end to this. But Elvira is asking Taylor to stop, and she is thinking, the windows open wide enough for all the smoke to escape, and even the carpet, which could catch fire, isn't there? There aren't any objects either. Did Ed Roth Taylor think this far ahead, and plan it all? And Ed Roth Taylor is about to attack with an arrow, and hence Elvira is stopping Taylor. But now it is too late, because Ed Roth Taylor has pointed the arrow at Taylor. And Taylor also moves rapidly to attack Ed Roth Taylor. And Taylor is thinking, he's using a bow? I'll deflect it. And Ed Roth Taylor shoots an arrow at Taylor, but instead of hitting Taylor, Ed Roth Taylor's arrow starts moving towards Isla, seeing which Taylor gets very shocked. And he's thinking, he wasn't targeting me? And Isla is about to be hit by Ed Roth Taylor's arrow, and Isla can't even use basic magic spells right now. But then Isla is not hit by the arrow, because Elvira has stopped it. And she is very tired, and the thing she used is Claw Hand, a magical engineering tool that can pull in any small object within sight even if at a faraway distance. And Elvira is thinking, but what is the deal with this arrow? He covered the arrowhead with cloth. Was his plan to hurt her? Then she says to Taylor, wait, Taylor. Be careful. I'm sure he has another trick up his SL dash. And Ed Roth Taylor blocks Taylor's sword attack with the bow, and he is staring at Taylor. But then he hears some sound, and he is thinking, this noise. Is it time, already? And we see Clebius, who is screaming very loudly, and saying, we're all going to die if we don't do anything right now. Then Ed Roth Taylor is saying, Act 2 Final Chapter The Ophelis Hall Incident Second Floor Boss. The gloomy Clebius Nortondale has escaped, and Ed Roth Taylor takes a sigh of relief, and thinks, finally. But then Taylor pushes Ed Roth Taylor away, due to which he hits a wall. And we see Elvira, who is very surprised, and she is saying, what the hell is his deal? And Ed Roth Taylor is lying injured. Then Taylor has grabbed Ed Roth Taylor by the collar, and is saying to him, are you insane? There's gotta be a reason why you went so far. And Elvira is thinking, I feel icky. I feel like he was playing us this whole fight. If he really wanted to overpower us, he wouldn't have shown himself at all and attacked us after the chandelier fell on us. Yet he stood there right in front of us to stop us. Even during the fight, he wasn't lax for a single moment. Something's off after all. Then Ed Roth Taylor says to Taylor, are you done now? If you're done, go up now. Stop yapping at me. And Taylor is surprised to hear this, and he says, what? You stopped us from going up for so long. Then why now? And Isla says to Ed Roth Taylor, why did you let us win? What do you mean by that, Elvira? And Taylor says, go easy on us? On us? This guy. But Elvira shouts at Ed Roth Taylor and says, I'm not leaving this place without knowing why. Answer me. Why did you let us win? But Ed Roth Taylor is staring at Elvira. And Elvira is brushing her teeth. But then someone starts coming to that place, and Ed Roth Taylor is saying, the permission flower pin was her choice after thinking it over for the whole night restlessly. Could someone humiliate her pure love by calling it naive? It might have been delusional, but imagining happy thoughts is up to a person's freedom. But the difference between imagination and reality can be cruel at times. The boy she thought would be at the pavilion, all dressed up, was on the ground, covered in blood, after being attacked by a suspicious group of people, And then Janica comes to that place, and when she sees Roth Taylor's condition, she starts getting very angry. And she is saying to them, "All of you, what have you done?" Was on the ground, covered in blood, after being attacked by a suspicious group of people. He may have been caught up in some unexpected trouble. However, from his simple life to the way he showed himself during the subjugation of Glasgow, no matter how big or small the job is, Roth Taylor was someone who had created a certain expectation around himself that he could somehow solve any problem. Only after being stabbed in one's blind spot, hidden in their complacency, is someone able to truly reflect on themselves. And Janica had asked Roth Taylor long ago, at that time, "I will definitely help you." But Roth Taylor never asked her for help. He made sure that she was outside of Ophelis Hall and left her a letter that was so unusual. He also fight here to the point that he was bleeding, because Yennecar had already been given various disciplinary actions due to the Glasgow incident, so he made sure to push Yennecar away from the battlefield. And Janica is getting very angry, and she is thinking, "I didn't know what was happening. He took care of me so that I wouldn't get caught up in anything, while I was worrying about my clothes." And Janica is very angrily asking them, "What are you all doing?" And we see that Taylor is happy with Janica's arrival, and he is saying, "Thankfully you didn't get caught up in this situation, senior. Right now, Ophelis Hall is being occupied by other students. But I don't think it will simply end like this. Seeing as Ed went this far to stop us, that must mean there's something else." But we see that Elvira is very scared, and she is saying to Taylor, "Get a grip, Taylor. She's the enemy." And Janica says to them, "You know, what you guys were doing. I wasn't even curious about it at all." And Janica is releasing a lot of energy, seeing which even Roth Taylor is surprised. And Janica is smiling and she is saying to Roth Taylor, "It's okay." And we see that Elvira and Isla are very nervous. And a very dangerous movement starts happening at that place. Everything starts flying in the air. And Janica has called her spirits, and there are a lot of spirits at that place. And Janica is smilingly saying to Roth Taylor, "Just wait 1 minute." And Elvira is thinking, for attributes, mid-level spirit, if you had the ghost spirits and low-level spirits, it's like an army. Then Elvira says to both of them, "We have to run away, Taylor. Let's just accept the obvious. There's no way that we can pass through it here. We even lost to that fallen aristocrat. And now the opponent is, top student of the second-year magic department." And Janica attacks them with her spirits, and Elvira is shouting, "Taylor, get a grip. Face reality already. Since all the windows are broken, let's get out that way." Taylor already aware of it through addition. It seemed that whatever was happening now in Ophelis Hall wasn't just a simple occupation. There may be students that would be harmed. Then Taylor gets ready to fight, and he's saying, "Elvira, I can't let your precious herbs unusable." Taylor never gave up on his trial. It was obvious that Taylor was going to live the life of a protagonist. But then Roth Taylor grabs Taylor from behind, and pushes him back, and tells him to go away from here. And those spirits do not attack Taylor. Then Roth Taylor says to Taylor, "Listen. I'll take care of Janica, so you guys go upstairs to the second floor as you planned." And Isla is saying, "What? Just ago you were trying so hard to block our path, but now you want us to just go to the second floor?" But Roth Taylor says, "I changed my mind, so hurry and go up." But Elvira shouts and says, "Really? You're going to stop those spirits? Your body is completely covered in injuries right now." But Roth Taylor hits Isla on the head with his fist, and is staring at her, then tells her, "Take your reagents. I'm sorry that I tore up your bag." And Elvira gets scared of Roth Taylor. Then she is saying, "WH what? This and then that, just what? Alright, let's go, Taylor." And all three of them start running away from this place. Then we see Janica, who is getting very angry. But Roth Taylor slowly starts moving towards her, and Janica is saying to Roth Taylor, "Don't push yourself too hard. Just stay to the side, I'll finish up the rest. You can explain the details to me first, I'll quickly finish this up and we can get you treated. Actually, the sudden skinship could be considered a symbol of rudeness, but, and Roththaler moves his hand, and tells Janica that I am really fine. And Roththaler puts his hand on Janica's shoulder and tells her, so you don't have to go overboard. And as soon as Roththaler tells this to Janica, she becomes very surprised. And his cheeks start turning red. And she gets shy. Then she says to Roththaler, Ed, your hand is on my shoulder. And Roththaler says to Janica, Yenikar, first, get rid of the spirits. The wind is too strong, so I'm having a hard time standing. And Janica says, yeah? Of course. It must be hard for you to stand up. I'm sorry. What did I do? I'm such an idiot. Then Janica calls back all her spirits, due to which everything becomes normal. And when all three of them see that Roththaler has calmed down Janica, all three of them get very shocked. And Roththaler is telling them to leave quickly. But we see that Roththaler is very tired and he is also injured. And so he falls unconscious on the floor. After some time, Janica makes Roththaler sit at a place, and says to him, why do you never say anything and get hurt? I told you to come talk to me if there was something going on. There was a reason for it this time. Next time, I'll tell you everything. They really went too far. There shouldn't ever be a reason to attack someone to this extent. I don't know exactly what happened, but next time we meet, I'm going to get really angry at them. Anyway, Ed, don't go around getting hurt, okay? You got it? Promise me. And Roththaler says to Janica, all right. Thanks for worrying about me. And Roththaler is trying to stand up and he is thinking, it was a little different from what I had planned, but in the end I had done my part as the first floor boss. Now, I could take a break and take care of the work at my camp. Then Janica says to Roththaler, by the way, addition. When I was sitting in the rose garden, I saw a very big carriage. It went by so quickly that I couldn't see it well, but there was a golden crown on it. And Roththaler tells, golden crown is the symbol of the Edel store. Lordal's adoptive father, and the enemy who killed her biological father. The fake boss who would leave the stage after being stabbed in the back by Lordal in the event that took place after the occupation of Ophelis Hall, the battle for the Sage's Seal. The Golden King felt the fact that he had arrived in Sylvania way before it was planned. That meant that something unexpected must have happened. It was completely outside my range of knowledge. Then we see that Lortel is looking at the horse carriage from the window, and she is saying, you know, Elris? I got dumped. Elris, you know him too? The one who seems a bit evil and mean when you first look at him. And Elris says, you mean young Master Ed? The person we met at that camp last time? What type of person do you like? I didn't know that. And Lortel says, he's pretty good looking, but it's not like that. The smell I get from you, Elris. I thought that I had smelled it coming from him, too. But he ended up making a bunch of emotional comments, which wasn't right. Then he ended up throwing it all away without hesitation. People like us live by hearing those words. Elris was the head maid of Ophelis Hall, who has served as a veteran maid for over 20 years. At the young age of 15, when she didn't know anything, she began her career as an apprentice maid. She became a manager at Ophelis Hall, as she was recognized for her ability relative to her age. Therefore, this is where Lordal invests the most effort. She need to spend a large sum of money enough to destroy Elris's righteousness. But Lordal didn't waste that expense at all. She had seen numerous people that would break their own faith by being attracted to mere gold coins. Same type of person, only when facing them, she can relieve her sense of loneliness. On a straw mat that was laid out in the ghettos, or in the rush of merchants that were risking their lives for a single gold coin, she lived a life where she didn't stab someone in the back first, she would be stabbed to death. Then Lortel says to Elris, as things are going, as long as we match the representative of the lower students, Willine, who is in the 4th floor management room, and half-heartedly give him ownership of the defensive magic that is spread out, then one way or another, Ophelis Hall will be destroyed. However, regardless of her unfortunate past and the circumstances that pushed her to the corner, Lordal was clearly a villain, and a black curtain. Then both of them are going ahead, and Lortel is saying to Elris, "The situation seems to be going as planned, so I'll just stay here in the storage room. I have to act like a good student, one that is simply afraid of the ongoing situation and doesn't know what's going on. That's why I hid up here in the storage room in the first place. A girl her age never loving someone else, or will have someone that's like family, who can open her heart, and will die in solitude." And Elris says to Lortel, "Ms. Lortel. Thinking about it, let me tell you something. I'm not someone like you.